Alright folks, how you doing? So I'm going to be reacting to this ridiculous scene in Braveheart which never happened, and I'm going to be putting right how Robert the Bruce really reacted when he learned that Wallace had been captured in real life.
He won't come.
He will. I know he will.
Incidentally, Robert the Bruce wasn't even there in real life. He was away. And the way that John Mentieth, who was the man who captured Wallace, the way that he ensnared him was the promise of a meeting with his brother. So not only was Robert the Bruce not even there, Wallace was planning to meet with Robert the Bruce's brother Edward Bruce, who would later become the King of Ireland. That's not really much of a disguise, mate. You know, if you put that shit over your head, you're more likely to draw attention. But, you know, try telling Hollywood that. By the way, there's nowhere in Edinburgh that looks like this. This is meant to be Edinburgh. What? Robert the Bruce is walking over the table. It's so ridiculous. Why would he do that? It's really silly.
My lord, he approaches.
I mean, I've done my fair share of pacing up and down over the years, but I've never actually walked on a table before. It's just silly. Like I said, Robert Bruce wasn't even there. Okay, super obvious trap is somehow not obvious.
No!
Where the hell were these guys hiding that no one saw them? Wallace didn't see them. They kind of stand out, but I don't know. By the way, when the real Wallace was captured, this didn't happen. They didn't beat him up or anything like that. They tricked him by lying to him, and then they put him in restraints. But no, they didn't beat the crap out of him like what's happening here. Why has this guy got his sword drawn? The whole point is to capture him, not to kill him. He didn't walk in with any weapons. Incidentally, when they captured Wallace in real life, they stole his weapons first, before they tried to, before they tried to capture him. But Wallace still managed to kill a few people, regardless of that. But
Bruce is not to be harmed.
he bashed one guy's brains in, and man, this man had a talent for violence in real life, Wallace. I mean, it's unbelievable. This is more like Mel Gibson's fetish for torture than anything that really happened. But I've got this passage here from the book, page 228, from William Wallace, Robin Hood Revealed. And here's how Robert the Bruce really reacted in real life. Robert Bruce came back on the 4th day after Wallace's capture. He arrived at Loch Maben and was overjoyed to see his brother Edward. But when he heard that Wallace was away, his heart nearly burst for sorrow. He was mad with grief and wept bitterly. His brother went to him and said, "Robert, this helps not one bit. Stop mourning. It cannot change things. You have lost him. You should avenge the deed. It was for your cause that he took the war on hand. In your defence, and thrice he freed Scotland. Were it not for Wallace, we would never have lifted a hand. Moreover, he was so loyal and manly, the best that shall ever lead an army. Had he wished to wear your crown, there are none in Scotland who could have stopped him. If not for him, you would have had no chance to be king, because of all the falseness and treason we find in this realm. That you shall see. The traitor who sold him expects to hold Dumbarton from you. Take some comfort in what Wallace did for you, and leave off this sorrow. The king told his brother that by the next day he would redress the wrong that had been done to Wallace. He sent men to Dalweston to kill Comyn, but he wasn't there. Bruce later slew him at Dumfries in front of witnesses. He acted too hastily for a king. He should have worked by the law to punish Comyn. I need say no more on this subject. You all know how it happened. In addition, you know how young Sir James Douglas first went to the king, and was always worthy and brave in battle. Nor will I say in detail how the king took on his crown. I only mention it here in short. Nor will I tarry on how Lord Soulis gave away Berwick, nor how Galloway was lost. I will also say little of how John of Lorne rose against his righteous king, or the fact that Bruce had many foes, or of how Brecon rose against his king. Nor will I say very much of how only a few men gave Bruce support, nor how the north was given away and how Bruce had to fight hard to recover it, nor how true James Douglas was and fought for his king in many places. Under Bruce he was the best chieftain, but Wallace rose as a champion all by himself. Therefore there is no comparison of any man who fought to free Scotland. Nevertheless, so many of Douglas's kin fought for Scotland that I cannot say for sure if any family did more. I will speak no more of Bruce's book. I shall return to how Wallace was led among his foes. So there you go. In real life, when Robert the Bruce learned about when this went down, when John Menteith, Wallace was the godfather to his children, by the way. There's always a friend that hates you the most, folks. Don't worry about your enemies. Worry about your friends. There's a lot of wisdom in that. It's always a friend that betrays you. It's not your enemies you need to worry about. It's the people who are around you, most of the time. It's them that will betray you. You don't have to worry about the people who are far off. You don't have to worry about the people who dislike you, even. Worry about the people who pretend to like you. And that's the real threat. But, when Robert Bruce learned that Wallace had been captured, he freaked the fuck out, man. He went absolutely fucking apeshit. He was inconsolable. He didn't want it to happen, and it's heartbreaking. But at the same time, if it hadn't been for Wallace, as Edward Bruce is pointing out, Robert the Bruce would never have been king. It wouldn't have happened. So there is kind of a silver lining, but it's still tragic, and it's still very heartbreaking when you think about it, because the Bruce only found his courage through Wallace, and the fact also that Robert the Bruce was the one who knighted Wallace to begin with, made him a sir. It's, man, it's a tragic story. It really is. Anyway, thanks for watching.